stop that from happening, and do you think Vic can play a role in that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the past two seasons, I'm not really sure record-wise, but I think last year was like, 2-1, maybe 3-1. The year before that, probably the same thing. And then, we just hit like that skid. Yeah, that's obviously in the back of our minds, and, a point of emphasis that, we want to hit on to make sure that, a great start is, great, but how to sustain that. And, yeah, I think Vic and his staff, absolutely loved every second of, this OTA, off-season practices that we've had. And so I think it'll make a huge difference.
Justin, have you looked at the success that Vic Fangio has had with other safeties and thought to yourself that this could be the year you make a Pro Bowl or be an All-Pro player?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think I was actually doing an interview a couple days ago maybe, and was just talking about how excited I was to be a part of, Vic's defense. And obviously looking at the production that he's had on the safety side of it has been huge. I can remember last year, watching some of the Bears film and seeing those guys run around. Obviously, Eddie Jackson and Amos making plays. And, I had the same feeling of similar to when I was coming out of, like the draft process and watching Denver playing the Super Bowl. Like, that looks like a defense that I'd want to be a part of. And so I was just super excited to hear that, we picked him up, and, now I have a chance to put my footprint on the defense.
What is it about Vic's defense that allows safeties to have so much success?
Because it's really like secondary driven. I think the biggest part about the defense is it's all communicative, like based. I think a lot of defenses are like that, but the vibe of this one's different. It's about trusting guys, seeing plays develop, guys not mentally being on the same page, but physically, like reading it how each other's like bodies would read it. As weird as that sounds, but it's just being in each other's shoes, like in their shoes, feeling out the plays. And so it's a great concept, and I've loved every second of getting to dive into it. But we haven't even scratched the surface yet in OTAs, so I'm excited to keep learning.
You got a feel for Kareem yet back there?
Yeah, Kareem's been great. I think I'm really excited about Kareem too. He brings great versatility in the back end. Safety, nickel, corner, wherever you need to put him is where he'll go, and a lot of experience. Very similar to a guy like Chris, and so I'm excited. It's been super easy transition. Back there, we've had some reps back there at safety together. Communication's been solid. Like I said, there's always stuff you can continue to work on and get better at, especially with a new defensive system. So we'll continue to do that.
At safety.
A bunch of different things. Like I said, the biggest thing that he brings is just his knowledge of the game. I think he's been around football so much, and he sees things probably a little bit faster than most guys will, being that he plays nickel, corner, closer to the line of scrimmage, so he can see route combinations develop before they even happen. Sometimes he's jumping plays before the route even develops, and on film you're looking at it, it's like, what the heck is he doing? But he's in the right spot at the right time. So I'm excited.
Back to the concept a little bit. The team you joined after that Super Bowl year, the secondary was like, in my idea, was almost defiantly man-to-man coverage. This system seems to mix coverages a little bit more. Talk to me a little bit about that and why that works for a defense and you in particular.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. The defense that we were previously a part of prided themselves on that, like just playing straight up, smash mouth football. If by the time the route is open, our pass rushers are getting to you, and vice versa. So it was a great concept to be a part of. I loved every minute of it. And this defense is very similar but different in a lot of ways, like you said. There's a lot of man concepts, a lot of different zone concepts. I think the biggest thing is you never know what's coming. It's always a mix and match. We're always moving around. We try and make it as tough as possible, on everybody, and spreading the equal plays around. And so that's where it becomes so communicative based, because you got to be on the same page.
And is that what you're saying says to me that you make it difficult for the quarterback to identify what you guys are up to back there, or is it something different than
Yeah,
that?
no, it's all around. The O-line has a big job. They got to be able to identify the down backs, who's blitzing, who's not. So as safeties, we know that, a little bit of a tilt gives it away for the O-line, who's rotating. A nickel could be blitzing if we, show too early, things like that. So it's a lot of that stuff, especially in a pass-happy league where, We play in a tough division, so we got to be able to make sure that we're doing our best to put ourselves in the best position. And sometimes that's disguise. Sometimes it's just showing it to make them overthink that we're disguising. Just playing, that chess game with the quarterback and with the O-line, the running backs, reading protections, the receivers, knowing who to block when they have crack blocks and things like that. So it's not just for the quarterback, but the offense in general.
Some of that body language you're talking about again, if your body language of the safety next to you shows the O-line something, well, maybe
Yeah.
you read off that.
It's like I said, like that's going back to saying like you got to be in each other's bodies. If one guy's showing something, you can't be showing the complete opposite of that. We got to be on the same page consistently, and a lot of that's going to be coming with game plan. Like we're out here, almost free for all in it, but a lot of it's going to be game plan, and but just seeing the defense unfold and actually learning it inside and out, it's been great. I'm excited.
You were all over the field last year. Do you think there'd be more settled into one position this year?
I think last year had a lot of challenges. That being, one of them. I think versatility-wise, I could definitely do that, but mentally, it's tough to be bouncing around from game to game, snap to snap, which is why I'm also glad we got another guy like Kareem, a guy that does it, year in and year out. Did it with Houston for a long time, so learning from him, getting that done. But if the staff asked me to bounce around like that, I'd be more than happy to, because I know I'll be put in the best position to make plays. But as far as I know, sticking to that whatever safety position that it is that they want me to be a part of, I'm going to make sure I maximize that and bring production to that.
Got your take really on Vic's personality, demeanor. What is it?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone else has used this word or word similar, but it's like Godfather, Italian, like mob-esque mentality. You make a bad play, you make a good play. It's like, as a guy, and the great part about it is I knew a couple guys from Chicago, so I was with them in the offseason, just trying to get a jump on them as a coaching staff, and I asked them, how's Vic? And they all, responded the same way, like a little chuckle, a smile, and he's great. And, I don't know what that means, but I kind of figuring it out now. He's just, he's his own guy.
Make your job tough trying to read what he's thinking when he.
No, because he comes in the meeting. We have meetings, and he comes in and he tells you what he's pleased with and not pleased with, and so he's not it's nothing bad. It's just it's tough to get a read on him. You typically can get a read from someone's facial expressions or body demeanor. It's the same, just that plain Jane gray outfit he wears 24/7. It's like his demeanor. It's just you can't tell. Happy, sad. Pleased, displeased. You guys have just as good as a guess as we do sometimes.
Not that you need the positive reinforcement on the field, but look on the other side, and Rich Gangarello is pretty loud and pretty positive. We've been able to notice that the practices we've seen. So it's one of those things we're like, hey, it'd be nice if these guys were a little bit more supportive on the field, or you don't care?
Honestly, it doesn't really bother me. I've had a coach like Coach Vic and BC for a while, and having Coach Hill and Coach Ed and the back end, kind of directing us. They're super positive. Everything that they're teaching us is all experience based and what's worked in the past. And it's the best thing I like about it is not any one player is the same. You might have similar traits, but you're not the same player. And that's how they go about their coaching. They're not going to teach any one guy the same technique, the same anything. It's really just all how you feel and how you play. They'll give you, certain guidelines to follow within them, but within that, it's super positive. Not that that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. I can take one way or the other. We're all here to common goal, and that's to win. So, it's not too disappointing.
Jamal Carter missed all of last year. Sua got in and out of the lineup. If those guys are healthy up to speed, what can they do for your depth?
It's huge. I think, you look at guys like Will, Sue, Jamal, all three of those guys are able to play like that, dime, backer, slash safety, even sometimes move out to a little bit of a nickel. That's what I love about this secondary. I feel like we're all versatile at the safety position for sure. And then, you look at Bryce, a stellar year last year at the nickel spot, obviously can play corner. You know, we look at Chris, you know, corner, the best nickel there is. You know, Kareem, I just talked about him, safety, nickel, corner, whatever it is. And so with Jamal coming back, it just adds more depth. I think, you know, I'm no DC, but it just gives you more free range of, you know, being able to have guys out there that, you know, like I said, in a pass-happy league, you know, being able to play, run when they need to, but pass for sure when they need to.
Is it weird not having Chris out there during this phase?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. You know, and the consensus in the room for the guys that have been around Chris is, you know, we're happy for him. You know, we want the best for Chris, and I hope that best means, you know, being here for, you know, as long as we're here. You know, selfishly, we want Chris here, but you know, we're happy for him either way. You know, we know he deserves anything that's coming his way, but selfishly, you know, we would really love him back. He's just, you know, you can't replace anybody, you know, like Chris. Everything that he brings to the table, and especially the experience on top of that and his playmaking ability. We need him for sure.
Sorry if you were asked this earlier, but you heading into your contract year, how much thought have you given that?
Yeah, a lot of thought. You know, another reason why I'm excited to be a part of this defense. You know, a chance to leave, you know, my mark on it. You know, obviously, when it's all said and done, if I had a choice, I would stay here. Not even a question. You know, looking elsewhere, anything like that. You know, Denver's been home to me for the past 3 years, gave me a shot to play, you know, professional ball. And so I'm forever thankful for this organization giving me a spot. And on a personal level, you know, I thought last year was okay, and I'm not a mediocre guy. And so I want to make sure that regardless of the situations that I was put in, you know, I know what I can do and I know what I can excel at. And so I'm excited for this year just to be able to bounce back, you know, selfishly, and then also, you know, just get back to winning and going to the, you know, to the postseason. And obviously those are big goals for us, and, you know, that's way down the road, but super excited for that.
Recognizing you just came from the weight room perhaps, but are you playing? Are you going to play at a bigger weight? You look a little bigger, stronger.
Yeah, right now I'm at around like 205, 206, and so I feel great. You know, we'll see. I mean, you're always going to be a little bit heavier at this time of the off season just because you know, it's not as taxing on your body. You're not here all day, especially you're not practicing as long. And so we'll see where the weight drops at for camp, because that's when you lose the bulk of your weight. But, you know, if I could play around 203, 205, I was a little bit lighter last year, but if I could play around that weight and be as explosive as I am now, and, you know, getting the football, you know, I'm stoked for that. So, yeah.